Hi everyone, and thanks for joining. I want to start by introducing Brianne Falcone, who is the owner of Bri-Organized, and she is
Hi.
a professional organizer here on the main line. Bri, do you want to start just by briefly telling us about yourself?
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much for having me. So, as you said, I'm a professional organizer in the area. 2023, I actually won the best of the main line for being a professional organizer. So, that's really exciting.
That's
And
awesome. Congratulations.
Thank you so much. So, pretty much, I just love to work with my clients and help them in any way that they need in their home. So, typically, it is centered around organizing or renovating a closet or pantry, but it can be a lot of times packing and preparing for a move. So, I figured we would talk a little bit more about that aspect today.
Yeah, absolutely. That's exactly what I want to talk to you about today because this is for the YouTube channel and our Facebook group, both which are called Moving to the Main Line. So I really want to discuss for the people who are watching how to organize before and after the move. Because I think that we all know, maybe you and I both particularly know, that as human beings, we often struggle with the amount of stuff that we own. I feel it now just being in my office. Although it looks like I don't have anything behind me, it's because all my stuff is this way.
Yeah, yes, exactly.
When we're moving, I feel like the stress is often amplified because we feel the pressure of making decisions then about what to keep and where to keep it and what to throw away and what to sell or what to donate. So it's already stressful and now it's super stressful. So Bri, can you start by telling us, when you're working with a client who is getting ready to pack up and move their house and move to another house, what is usually your first step with that client?
So the first step really is meeting with the client. At this time, we kind of get to know each other, see if we'll work well together. And at this stage, we really set clear intentions and goals because everyone's move is going to look a little different based on the location that they're moving, how many family members, if they're moving with pets. There's so many different factors involved. So it really is about setting those intentions and goals and creating a clear timeline with that.
Okay, good. So can you give me an example of some of the goals that clients have for their move? So I'm guessing it's something like, if I'm working from home and I do work quite a bit from my home office, one of my goals might be to easily unpack my office when I get to that next place so that I can get online and have everything that I need. So what kind of goals do you find that your clients are commonly setting for themselves?
Yeah. So again, we really dive deep into that with that initial consultation. It typically is centered around a life change. So most of the time clients are moving because something in their life has happened, whether it is they have a new job, or maybe an elderly family member is moving in with them, or maybe their family is growing and they're having a baby. So whatever that factor is that's really changing for them and is the root cause of the move is typically where we want to start. So if it happens to be that, hey, I'm moving in the middle of the month, and then I am due to deliver my first baby at the end of the month. So obviously with that, there's going to be a totally different need to set up a nursery and to have everything ready for when that baby comes, versus someone who's preparing to have an elderly family member move in with them. So just kind of really talking through what those life changes are really important.
Okay. Okay, good. And do you find that those goals vary a lot between people who have kids and don't?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Because the ones that have kids, it's typically centered around, when school's starting or school breaks, convenient times to move and transition children within school, or whether or not, they're downsizing because this year their child's going off to college. So it really does depend on the family life a lot. And I mean, sometimes it can be more centered around a job, but even still, I find that those that are moving for a career change, they still do want to focus on their family and make sure that everything is the right decision for them as well.
Okay. So Bri, as a real estate agent, one of the things that I tell people before they list their homes for sale is that they need to declutter it, and not just like kind of, but they need to declutter the heck out of it, because a clean, completely decluttered home looks way more spacious. Ideally, it sells for more money. So what is the process you go through with clients to help them declutter? And
So I
how do you know where to start? Because if you came to my house, I would be like, Bri, where do we start? Because I don't know.
That is literally
I need
like
you to tell me.
always the first question. People say, I know I need to do something, but I don't know where to start.
Right.
So I think the biggest thing that I like to differentiate for people is that cleaning and decluttering are two different things. So I think a lot of times when I go into pre-listings with people and we start talking about decluttering, their first idea is that, oh, I'm just going to hire my cleaner to do a really deep clean. Whereas that's really not the case. With decluttering, we need to get down to the root cause, and it does help you in the end with packing. So I tell people to start from their least used room to their most used room. So a lot of times that ends up being storage is the least used thing. So we're going to start in basements, attics, garage, and just really clearing out anything that we don't need. So that doesn't necessarily mean we're giving away. It could be, oh, you know what, this is old and broken, let's trash it. This item could be a donate because no one wants it. This item may be going to one of their children. Maybe they work with a charity frequently that they know they've been kind of collecting certain items for. So it really does just depend on the person and the situation. Whereas some clients are upsizing and they don't need to get rid of a lot. It's just, what are we getting rid of? The basic items that you should be clearing out, annually anyway. So let's go through your closet, see what you haven't worn in the past few months. And let's go through your kids' closet, see what they've outgrown, see what has stains and tears, that kind of stuff. Going through any playrooms, things of that nature, just kind of like the basics. Whereas downsizing, it's going to be a lot more of an in-depth decluttering.
So when you're decluttering, let's say we're decluttering the first floor of a home and it's the kitchen, the kids' playroom, the living room, are we actually packing those items and throwing some of them away and donating some of them? Or are we just removing them from the space and putting them in a plastic bin in like the basement or storage, so that we can sell this home and then we go through them again? Or is it just you recommend like a one-step process where we're all going to go through the whole thing at the same time?
That is such a great question. So again, it comes back to that timeline. So I think in the last, few years, the market has been really hectic and it's been kind of a one-stop. We're going to go through, we're going to declutter, and we're going to start packing at the same time because we have a timeline of 2 weeks to get this house on the market. So it ends up being a little crazy. Whereas in the past, I've had clients who have time and we don't need to rush through it. And I think, as we know, it can be a very emotional process to sell a home. Just as the items in that home can have emotional and sentimental attachments too. So sometimes it is a little bit more difficult. And I think having a timeline that allows you to take your time and look through the items and be able to just pause and say, you know what, I'm not really ready for these things yet. This is going to be a little bit too emotional for me today. Let's come back to it tomorrow. So it is nice to have that extended time and to not wait until you're ready to hit the market to start doing it. I think giving yourself a little grace and allowing yourself to really look through in your own convenience before you're ready to take photos for the listing.
Okay, so I'm feeling stressful just talking about this. So the sentimental items, because I'm still kind of like stressed out about the way my basement looks. And I want to tell you that we have sentimental items down there that belong to my husband or maybe my kids. Maybe a little bit of them belong to me.
That's okay. That's okay. There's nothing wrong with that.
What do you do with the sentimental items when people are trying to decide what to keep and what to let go? I literally have plastic bins full of my kids' artwork from when they were like 2 years old that for some reason, like I just can't put it in the trash can. So now it's like piling up in my basement. So what advice do you give your clients about sentimental items?
So before we even start, I ask them, how much do you think you have? Realistically, how much do you think you have? Is it 1 bin? Is it 10 bins? what do we think we have here? Most of the time I will tell you they are wrong and they have a lot more than they think they have, and that's okay. But with that, when I ask them how much they think they have, I also ask them, how much do you want to keep of that? And I think that that really, again, is just setting a goal for themselves. And it's not me. I do not make anyone get rid of anything. I sometimes will push if they are flexible and comfortable with me being there to support them through that journey. However, I never would make anyone get rid of anything sentimental. It's really them setting goals for themselves and saying, you know what? I think I have probably 20 bins of my kids' schoolwork from all the years, because I never wanted to get rid of one piece of paper. And I would like to only have, 4 bins because I have 4 children and each child should have 1 bin. So that's where I step in and I work with them to really make that goal a reality. So whether it's we go through and I say, okay, we have, 10 handprints from when your child was in 4th grade. Do we need all 10 handprints from 4th grade, or are 1 or 2 of them maybe okay? We have, a hand turkey from Thanksgiving, another one from St. Patrick's Day. So just kind of working through those items. I think it is a little bit harder when it comes to the larger items. So when we're downsizing, I have a lot of clients who might struggle as a husband and wife duo. As couples, it's a little harder because you have that even pull. And so one of you might find, your grandmother's antique china piece amazing and that we need to keep, whereas the other one is saying, we're moving into a small apartment. It's really unnecessary. So it does become a little bit more difficult. So I think, again, like allowing yourself that time, really process and take the time emotionally that you need to make the correct decision for yourself, because there is no one right answer with any move.
Okay. All right. Yeah, I think that was really good advice. So once we have decluttered and we've gone through a lot of things to figure out, what we're going to keep, what's going to go to Goodwill or whatever, what's going to be sold or thrown out. Now we're getting ready to pack because the house is under contract. The new buyers are going to come in. We have to get all of this stuff out before the buyers come in. What tips do you give clients to set them up for success when packing their belongings? And specifically, what do they pack first? Like, is it like the decluttering where we go through the things that we're not using a lot first?
Yeah.
Or is it seasonal? Like if it's the winter, do I go through summer first and pack that because I know I'm not going to use it until June?
So you're absolutely right. I always tell clients, we're going to start with the less used room first. So always your storage first. And then typically it ends up being, a formal dining room, your formal living room, just depending on the house. If you don't work from home, okay, maybe we can start looking at the office. So it really just depends on lifestyle, then what room is next. But typically it ends up being your kitchen and the primary bedroom and bathroom are going to be last. So tell people don't do double work. So we're not going to go through your closet and pack half of it and go through every single item to figure out what that half is. If your closet isn't already well organized, it's going to take more time to pre-organize it before the pack and then go through it again and pack again. I have had some clients who, we have some extra time packing. So we end up, just taking wardrobe boxes and leaving them in their walk-in closet open with the racks of boxes just in a line, and you can see everything on the rack in the box. So all we have to do when we're actually ready to move is just tape the boxes closed. So something like that we can kind of pre-plan for if there's extra time and extra wiggle room, but really the focus would be the least used to the most used space. With that, I typically give my clients a list of items that they should have in their essential bags. So the essential bag meaning your first night to your first 3 nights. So we go through that whole list, but it's usually what you would take on vacation with you. So anything, to wear, sleep, we want to make sure we have bed sheets available the first night. We want to make sure we have any medication, even thinking down to your phone charger and your laptop and your charger. So there are definitely some considerations that you want to take with packing. So if you have certain needs, that we're making sure that those items stay easily accessible to you throughout the entire time.
I love that. And what do you call it? The essential bag?
Yeah, I usually just call it like an overnight essentials.
Okay.
And I have a basic list that I give to my clients, but then beyond that, a lot of times when we do sit down and create those goals, we just kind of go through that list and talk about, what their needs are. Because if they have a pet, I want to make sure that we have their food and water bowls and their food is available for them. We don't want our pets to starve. So it is, again, a move is very personal. So I like to really go through everything really in depth with the clients.
Is there anything sort of non-traditional that you put in the essential bag that people are just not thinking of when they are packing?
So I think the biggest thing that people miss, and it's always so funny when I go to do an unpack, is a box cutter or scissors. I cannot tell you how many times I've unpacked for a client and we get there and the movers are unloading boxes and I start taking out scissors or a knife to cut open boxes and they panic and they say, oh, I thought I thought of everything. I don't even have a knife to cut open a box down.
Right.
So that is like one of the biggest things that's on my list. And I always laugh and tell them, I have about 10 pairs of scissors in my car for that exact reason.
Yeah, same. Also tape measures. I take it everywhere.
Yes, me too. I think you're just like so overwhelmed. There is so much going on that those little things sometimes just slip through the cracks. So that's why having that list can be so beneficial for people.
Right. Right. Okay. So in addition to your medications and your pet food, make sure you're packing a pair of box cutters, a set of box cutters, and maybe some scissors.
Yes,
okay.
Definitely.
So a bit of a tricky question, but I just want to get your take on this because I think if I don't ask it, people are going to ask me why I didn't ask this one. For people who are moving here to the main line, and let's say that they are coming from California, New York, wherever, they might be coming from Center City, but a lot of them do come from farther. Do you recommend that they pack themselves, or do you recommend that they hire their professional movers to pack?
So this is a tricky one. And I really always tell clients, weigh all of your options because I may not be the best option. Your mover might not be the best option. Your real estate agent might have a better mover in mind. So I tell people, do your homework because this is such an important thing. These are all of your life memories and all of your valuable items. And you just want to make sure that you're choosing the best possible person to be helping you along the way. So whether that is an organizer to kind of guide you through the process and help you find the right mover, whether it's packing yourself, that way you really know you have full control, which some clients like to do. They like to pack themselves and only hire movers and oversee them. And that's okay too. It's really down to what's going to work best for you and considering things like what your lifestyle currently is. So do you have the time to take on a move? Or do you really only have, the 2 or 3 days to actually have the move take place? So really thinking about that because it is a very time consuming and stressful process. So I think just weighing all of your options to see what will work best for you and your family.
Okay, so we know, not everyone has the time to pack themselves. Hiring someone else to pack you can also be expensive unless you're getting relocated by a company or something and they're going to pay the movers to pack you. So since moving is so expensive, and in fact, buying a new home is incredibly expensive, as we all know, especially on the main line. Do you have any cost-saving tips on packing up before the move?
Yeah, I always think this is funny because my clients typically laugh at me, but at the end of a move, I tell clients when they say, oh my goodness, how am I going to get rid of all these boxes? I typically break all the boxes down and I put them in a client's garage. And I say, you can just list these right on Facebook Marketplace and someone else that is moving will come and pick them up free of charge to you and take them off your hands. So the same thing when clients are preparing to pack, I just say, start saving those larger boxes that you get. I know everybody orders from Amazon, everybody orders online, save some of those boxes And then just start kind of asking around, even if you're not on Facebook Marketplace or a similar online group. Sometimes just asking friends and family or your neighbors, they'll know of someone that's moving that you'll be able to get a ton of free boxes from. So that's probably my number one tip. And then the second one, I think, is quite obvious, but a lot of people underestimate the cost of larger items to move. So really thinking about, do we need to move everything we have?
Yeah.
So if, you have an old IKEA bedroom set for one of your children that's really on its last legs, is it worth it to move, or can we maybe get rid of it at the current house and buy something new when we get to the new house? So things like that I think a lot of people, once we start really pricing out the cost of a move, they realize how much each individual piece really will cost and that it might not be worth it.
I love that, because I have totally made that mistake myself, and just being like, oh, we already own it, so we should move it. And then if I had to like move it and then put it in storage and then move it again, and I'm like, oh my God, this was totally not. Yeah. Why did I do this to myself?
I've had some clients who move things that they pay to get them moved, and they're really just sad. They're on their last legs, and they end up, the movers accidentally break it because it was so fragile anyway. And it ends up being, it gets there, they have it for a week or two, and they decide to get rid of it anyway. So then they're paying again to have the item removed from their house. So just thinking through that.
So I think the main point here is, don't pay for boxes, because Facebook Marketplace, and I would also say the buy nothing groups on Facebook are definitely absolute God sent miracles on, like, just, you can find so much stuff on there, including moving boxes. Don't pay for your boxes, just get it from somebody else. And I would say also your real estate agent probably has some too, because we always have some, like at the office or at home or whatever, because we always know someone who's moving. So,
that's such a great tip. Yes.
So if you're selling your house wherever you are and you're moving to the main line, ask your real estate agent if they have, a slew of boxes around that you can use. But getting down to our final questions here. Okay, so let's say I'm new to the main line. I just moved here. Now I have to unpack and figure out where all of this stuff is going to go. And again, I'm having anxiety just thinking about this. What should I do first with the goal of staying organized and not losing my ever-loving mind while I'm trying to unpack all of this?
Yeah. So you should already be thinking about that when you're packing. Okay. We already want to have that in mind. What's the most important things to you? Really important, because as you're packing, we're going to be labeling the boxes per room. But let's say, in your kitchen, you have an essential box. It really does help have those critical items: plates, mugs, spoons, forks, just your basic cooking utensils and things. So having that essential box labeled as, kitchen open first. So every room, I kind of will try to designate those open first boxes. It really will help you to settle in much quicker. So it might not be that every room is unpacked right away, but at least you have your essentials for the bathroom, your essentials for the kitchen, you have bed sheets, your basic linens for the household, things like that. So thinking about that beforehand is really important. I think too, just kind of thinking about, what does your timeline for moving in look like? Are you hiring an organizer? If so, don't wait until the day you move. You can call an organizer ahead of time, because a lot of times we book weeks or months out. So getting on that schedule and saying, this is the date I'm thinking of moving in. What does your availability look like for that week? And really talking about that, just to make sure that you're on a schedule and you're not moving in and thinking that somebody can be there the next day when it really isn't the case.
Okay, good. So I like that. Always prepare. So we're going to start with the end in mind, meaning we've seen the house. Hopefully we've seen it in person that we're buying. Sometimes we don't see it in person.
Yeah.
But hopefully we do see in person. So we're thinking ahead of time about where that stuff is going to go, and then trying to pack room by room and then unpack room by room, essentially. Is that what you're saying?
Exactly.
Okay.
So it's going to pretty much be the opposite process as when you packed. So you packed from the least used room to the most used room. As you move everything in, it goes the opposite way. So we're going to unpack the most used items first, all the way
Okay.
to the least used items.
Okay. And some of those least used items will never be unpacked. Is that right?
That is the most true statement I have heard today. I have had so many clients who I typically do a lot of basement decluttering and organizing.
Right.
And in those basements, I somehow always find a box that people say they thought that they lost in a move because it was never there. I mean, I found stamp collections that are, some of the stamps are 100 years old.
Oh my God.
And people are like, I put in an insurance claim because I thought that they were lost in the move. And really, it's just that the boxes were never opened. And a lot of times those unopened boxes are items that we didn't need to move to begin with.
We didn't
And
need
it
them.
ends up being,
Yeah.
we get rid of them.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
really thinking about, again, making sure that everything that we're packing needs to be packed and moved because it is a cost to you. So don't pay to move something that you're just going to get rid of.
I love that. I'm going to tell my husband that next time we move. Okay. All right. So I'm in a new house. Let's imagine I'm in a new house on the main line and I cannot figure out my pantry, my closet, my mudroom, like where stuff should go, awkward angles. I don't know what to do here. Can you, Bri, help me figure out where this stuff is going to go?
Yeah. Oh my gosh, definitely. That tends to be the large majority of my job. So right now, I know a lot of clients have made some sacrifices on houses. So maybe the house is amazing and in the best location, but they don't love the storage. So a lot of clients have purchased homes recently and then called me in to renovate a closet or a pantry. So I do projects all the way from unpacking and just getting you settled in to complete overhaul of a closet or pantry where I redesign it, bring my contractor in, install it, and then organize everything back into it for you. So it's kind of like a one-stop shop.
Okay. Yes. Awesome. So you use, or at least you have connections with contractors who know how to do closets, mud rooms, laundry rooms, all that stuff. Because we know on the main line, a lot of these houses are older and sometimes the storage is just not what you want it to be.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think it really is beneficial having somebody help you. I know a lot of times in historic homes, especially, the closets are not made like they are today. So, I mean, I've had closets where a hanger literally doesn't fit in the closet. So really trying to think outside of the box and having a contractor on my team. So that way we can team up and make sure it's the best solution for the space is super helpful.
Well, Bri, this has been super, super helpful. Thank you so much for talking with me today. So for anyone out there watching who wants to get in touch with you, who wants to find you, where is the best place to find you?
Yeah, so you can just go right to my website. It's Bri-Organized.com, BRI, no spaces or hyphens or anything. All my contact info is right on the contact page. So if calling is easier, feel free to give me a ring.
Okay. And are you on social media as well?
I am, all under Bri-Organized.
Okay, perfect. All right. Thanks so much, Bri. I really appreciate it. Have a great rest of your day.
Thanks so much for having me. Bye.
Bye.